Sometimes in life you realize that despite having great things to say and great ideas to share with others, you may not find, not all the time, the courage to speak out loud in front of others or to communicate in a way that will get and keep people's attention whenever you have something to say. Personally, I was never able to get heard or get respected in front of other people when I was younger, and in this video I wanted to share with you 3 things that definitely allowed me to finally speak out whenever I had something important to say, no matter who is in front of me and no matter what the situation or expectations were at that moment. The first problem when we talk about speaking and projecting your voice and getting heard is that we have a ton of repressed emotions that may prevent us from speaking as loud as we should and from communicating with a strong intention of getting the person to listen. If we get slightly physical for a second and notice how the vocal mechanism works, you just don't have less capacities than most opera singers. Most of them don't have a bigger voice, a louder voice than you have. They simply practiced and they developed that condition. And even without going that far into the power of vocal projection, we are all born, except people disabled, but otherwise we are all born with the innate capacity of projecting our voice extremely loudly without hurting ourselves. What gets ourselves hurt when we try to project, or what gets us to just mumble and not even be able to speak, is when we have repressed stuff constraining our throat or some muscles around the diaphragm, because anything emotional that hasn't been processed will leave metaphorical scars or even like physical scars inside the body, on the organs and on the muscles surrounding your diaphragm, the center of emotions, and your throat, because whenever you can't speak, can't say out loud something, it stays in your throat or like in your neck somewhere, in the muscle tension. So from the most common denominators of what might affect you if you have trouble communicating freely whenever you want, the first one obviously is fear. Fear of the repercussions, fear quite often of being judged. In that case, you can maybe relate with at which moment in your life have you been the most scared of being judged by somebody else if you made a mistake, if you said something wrong. At which moment have you been the most scared of some repercussions from an adult, from somebody else. Then you may have the fear of taking too much space, quite often with an abusive parent. Then we have anger also. The anger of having been shut down by somebody, the anger again of not having been allowed to speak, to say something important in your family, with your siblings, at school, in your first job, whatever. And then also the guilt and shame of I should not think this, or I should not say this. Because in our society we are conditioned to remain a puppet who never says anything. Some people go in the extreme other way around, but quite often when we feel something negative about other people, we restrain ourselves from saying it because it is bad. We should not say that. But anything you feel like you should not say, that is going to leave tension in your vocal mechanic, your capacity to speak out loud, and you may have less ease to take more space in the conversation and take more space with the person in front of you. And you may always feel like nobody's listening to you, nobody's letting you speak. Well, do you even have the intention of actually speaking loud enough and clearly enough so that they listen to you? If it is coming from a wounded, weak shield of I just don't want people to see me, then obviously people are not going to listen to you, even less respect you or enjoy what you say. Then second step on the purely physical aspect this time, because when I tried to figure out how to release, liberate, free my voice, I noticed many advice did not apply to me, or I could not make them work. And specifically mostly because a lot of that is internal, how you perceive your capacity to speak out and to get heard is very psychological. On the purely physical aspect, though, there were only a few exercises that really helped me to release my voice as much as I wanted, and most of them did not do shit. Like the whole thing about the pencil right there in the teeth, that just caused me more tension in my jaw, so that was not useful for me at all. But what helped me to get some release was this exercise of singing a note, anything like ah, and you are going to turn your head like this slowly, not super fast, but you have to maintain the sound like ah, like this. And if at any point you hear the sound going ah, like constraining, then you know at this moment, at this point, there is a tension. And that is where you may need more relaxation, more massage or anything to release anything that is constrained. And aside from that, the other one that really helped was when you try to sigh, so like this on purpose, but you are going to do that as silently as possible. You have to sigh without any sound. And when you do that without any sound, it is forcing your diaphragm to fully open up and release all the tension around your neck, around your throat, everything. So when you do that and train yourself to maintain that open space, then your voice will have more space to resonate inside. When you project your voice, it is never a matter of pushing, it is always a matter of making the air from your lungs resonate inside the cavities. But when you have too much tension like this everywhere, you can't have the air resonating, so you can project your voice correctly, properly. Once you can release all those tensions, then the air can flow more freely, and that is how you can project your voice more, which is not the right term because it is just inside. The sound is accumulating inside your cavities, in your nasal cavities, and then the sound appears louder outside. But those were some of the tricks I used that really helped me to release some tension. I still have some sometimes in my tongue, in my jaw, but releasing it daily really helped to get more clear whenever I wanted to say something out loud. And finally, step number 3 is, as I have mentioned briefly already, the intention behind your words. Whenever you say something, most guys I noticed who could not be assertive enough when they speak, it is almost, and women also by the way, it is almost as if they were just speaking for themselves. They speak like in a mask, like this all the time, and they try to say really fast what they have to say, but they don't even connect with the person in front of them. They don't even pay attention to the body language of the person in front of them. They are just inside their own head, ruminating things, and even if they are supposed to communicate with you as a human being, they just communicate for themselves inside a small bubble of speech, but nothing is really getting past their shield of protection, of not trying to get seen or get heard. Nothing is getting in the head of the person they are interacting with. So the intention behind the words is going to be translated by the image you have in your head at the moment you speak. For example, if you want somebody to get attentive whenever you say something, can you, for a split second, picture in your mind what would that person look like if they were extremely attentive to what you say? What kind of facial expression would they have at the moment you speak if they were completely amazed by what you say? What would they look like? Would their body language be different at that moment? And whenever you can communicate with a strong intention or to translate an image in your mind, because sometimes in shamanic or meditative practices they say get a strong intention, but that doesn't mean anything. Translate it into NLP, a clear picture in your mind of the face of the person you are interacting with being fully absorbed by what you say. That image in your mind will allow your unconscious mind to understand where you want to go, how you want to change your communication with that person at that moment, and make different your whole tonality, your eye contact, everything else. Also because the voice getting heard is not only about the voice inflections or tonality, it's also about everything else. Your face, your hands, your how are you facing the person or kind of trying to look away from the person. Everything is taking space in their mind or trying to hide away, one or the other. If you want to get space inside their mind because at this moment you want them to shut up, you speak, and you want them to listen, Then you have to pause, notice what kind of pictures get up in your mind at the moment you communicate, and change those pictures if they are not productive for you. If you get an image of somebody judging you and laughing at you when you speak, your voice is going to be really hesitant and insecure. But if you have a clear picture in your mind of the person being fully absorbed and so respectful of what you say at the moment you speak, then you are going to position your voice and the air in your lungs and your eye contact in your hands in a quite different manner. And that is all for this video. You have a small document down below if you want to figure out how to release communication, how to communicate more eloquently whenever you have something important to say, and whenever you want to change limiting beliefs through the way you speak, helping people to get better in their lives and noticing where the flaws are in their thinking so that they can, through the way they communicate, become more assertive whenever they want to get somebody to listen to them. You have all of that down below on the first link. Thanks a lot for watching and see you soon in the next one.